Death Valley, California, animals, mines, and charcoal kilns. Located in the northern part of the Mojave Desert in eastern California, Death Valley is the hottest place on Earth during the summer. This desert valley is surrounded by the Great Basin Desert and is a popular destination for hiking and camping. Mojave Desert Tortoise. Often referred to as the Death Valley tortoise, the Mojave Desert tortoise is a native species that is endangered. Its range includes southern California and Nevada, although it also occurs in the Sonoran Desert. The tortoise has a long tail, a high domed carapace, elephant-like legs, and sharp claws. Male Mojave Desert tortoises are larger than females. Male tortoises also have a longer gular horn and concave lower shell. The carapace can be up to 15 inches long for male tortoises. They can weigh up to 11 pounds. The tortoise's habitat is rocky canyons, hillsides, and sandy loam soil. It has been observed to move up to 660 feet per day. Mojave Desert tortoises lay their eggs in April or May. They will hatch in June or July and will survive until they become adults. The tortoise's home range may vary with the seasons and rainfall. Desert tortoises are found in habitats that range from 1,000 feet to 3,000 feet above sea level. They build burrows, usually under rocks, in the hillsides and sandy loam soils. They live for up to 50 years. Not only that, but they are often threatened by illegal pet and wildlife trade and are endangered by the spread of disease. In the eastern Mojave Desert, the tortoise is most active in spring and summer. Males mate between spring and fall. The tortoise's social behavior includes courtship and nest defense. The tortoise is vulnerable to disease, which can be spread by former captives. The tortoise uses its long back legs for digging. The tortoise stores water in its bladder. When the bladder is empty, the tortoise may become vulnerable to disease. Greater roadrunner. The greater roadrunner is one of the two species in the genus Geococcus. The best time to spot a roadrunner is during the middle of the day, when the temperature is around 90 degrees Fahrenheit. The bird is best viewed on warm days and cool evenings. The bird can be found in most parts of the park. During the winter, the coldest months of the year, roadrunners are a bit harder to come by. Located in the southern part of California, the area is dubbed Death Valley for good reason. It is the driest region in North America and a hotspot for bird life. The desert contains 307 species of birds, as well as 36 species of reptiles, 5 species of native fish, and 3 species of amphibians. This is a large part of the reason why it is one of the most visited national parks in the United States. The best time to visit Death Valley is between May and September. It's the best time to watch the roadrunners in action. The roadrunner is one of the few species that can be found at elevations ranging from -200 to 7,500 feet. The area is home to more than a dozen species of birds, including the famous black and white ibis. It also hosts the largest population of owls in the United States, at approximately 20,000 individuals. The owls are not for the faint of heart. The greater roadrunner has earned a place in the hearts of birdwatchers, for good reason. It is also the subject of many books and articles. It is the subject of many awe-inspiring photographs. It is a nimble creature and a true testament to the area's biodiversity. Alluvial fans. Several alluvial fans in Death Valley, California, have been mapped for the first time. The authors used a combination of field surveys and geomorphological characteristics to create a detailed map of these features. The authors found that there were statistically significant changes in the bulk grain size distributions of the various surfaces on each alluvial fan. The largest changes were found in the D84 grain size fraction. These differences represented a drop in the median grain size of about 30 to 50%. The bulk size distributions were analyzed in conjunction with the numerical modeling of these features. The results suggest that these features are the product of fluvial processes rather than random debris flows. These features may have important implications for climate change, as alluvial fans are thought to be important in controlling climate. The authors studied 3 alluvial fans in Death Valley. Each fan was mapped in sequential order of age. The surfaces were dated using terrestrial cosmogenic Euclides. The oldest surfaces are thought to be late Pleistocene. The younger surfaces are thought to be Holocene. The authors found that a drop in the grain size distribution was observable on all 3 of the alluvial fans. It was found that the average grain size was only about 30% of the size of the smallest grain sizes preserved on the surface. This may be because fine grains settle out when water ponds. The authors found that there was a correlation between sediment flux and precipitation. The authors hypothesized that sediment flux had decreased by about 20% due to a 30% increase in mean annual precipitation. This led to a further increase in the progradation of larger grain sizes downstream. Sand dunes. Located in Death Valley National Park, These sand dunes make a perfect place to hike and explore. They are the best place to watch the sunrise and sunset. They are also a great place for camping. During the summer months, they can get extremely hot. Sand dunes are made up of quartz grains. These grains are scoured from the surrounding mountains and are transported by wind. They form when water flows downhill through a valley during a flood or rain. The wind then breaks up the rocks and traps the sand. There are 5 dune fields in Death Valley National Park. The 2 best known dunes are the Mesquite Flat Sand Dunes and the Saline Valley Dunes. The Saline Valley Dunes are a little more difficult to access. The Mesquite Flat Sand Dunes are the easiest sand dunes to visit in Death Valley. They are also the most popular. There is a parking lot at the entrance, but you will need to hike about a mile to get to the highest dunes. The Eureka Dunes are the tallest dunes in California. They are about 600 feet high. These dunes are backed by Last Chance Mountains. They can be accessed through Scotty's Castle Road. They are about 3 miles long and 1 mile wide. Likewise, they are accessible with most standard vehicles. The Stovepipe Wells Sand Dunes are a crescent-shaped dune. They are about 100 feet high. They are a good place to view the Death Valley sunset. The area has a general store and bathroom. When traveling to sand dunes, be sure to wear shoes or barefoot. The sand is very loose, so it can be quite a workout. During the high season, there is high foot traffic, which can disturb the sand. Mining history. Located in California, Death Valley was discovered by modern Californian settlers during the gold rush of 1849. The area has a rich mining history, with many opportunities still open. Borax was discovered at Furnace Creek in 1881. By the turn of the century, borax was being processed in Death Valley. Using 20 mule team wagons, borax was hauled over the Mojave Desert. Borax was transported to railheads in Mojave. The Borax Museum displays mining equipment from the turn of the century. There are indoor and outdoor artifacts to see, along with a small collection of borax products. The Borax Museum is housed in the oldest structure in Death Valley National Park. It is a small museum that focuses on the history of borax mining. It is the best place to see borax artifacts in the valley. The Borax Museum was originally built as the office of the Pacific Coast Borax Company in 1883. It has a small collection of mining artifacts, including arrowheads, picks, and soap flakes. It also displays the tiniest of the miracles of the mining industry. 20 mule team wagons were used for transporting dehydrated borax across Death Valley. The 20 mule team was an important part of the mining industry in the late 1800s. It hauled tons of borax over rugged terrain. The Borax Museum is a must-see if you're interested in mining history. It's also a good place to see some of the oldest structures in Death Valley. The museum isn't quite as big as the rest of the park, but it has a nice display of mining artifacts. In addition to the Borax Museum, there are many other interesting sights to see in Death Valley. The Wildrose charcoal kilns are a popular tourist spot. They're located in Death Valley's upper Wildrose Canyon. They provide a welcome respite from the harsh conditions of the valley floor.